one, now Julie showed me this. I hope this is the right one.
I don't have any idea what year that was.
Okay, so if you went from Dunkerton
Yeah. To Oelwein.
to Oelwein, so you would have left at 2:05, and you would have headed north to Oelwein, and you would have gotten there about 11:55.
Yes, I do.
Of course you do.
Did it say when that was?
This was
When I
in
was in
1944,
school,
what this schedule is from.
I went to
So it's
Elk
probably
Grove
pretty
School
similar
from
to that.
kindergarten
I mean,
sixth
yours would have been
grade. And
after
the kids
that
lived
most
across
likely,
the river
but
from West Road went to
yeah.
Jewett.
But they probably
Well, the
followed the
seventh and
same
eighth
schedule.
grade,
It was
the Elk
probably,
Grove kids went to
Yeah.
Jewett. And that's when I met
early
Randy.
60s or something.
And
Mhm.
we went to
So what
Elk
was
High
the
School
train
together.
like
But,
to ride in?
There's a group,
I don't
Plush and
remember.
luxurious?
it's called Childhood
I
Friends.
don't remember.
It's
I
Evansville
just
kids
remember taking a
that
couple of the
graduated,
kids
went to
and
school,
going.
graduated together.
Well,
And
good.
Randy's one of them, so we've reconnected. He's having surgery.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
So that's not the
Monday.
depot you're getting here?
No,
Oh, it burned down.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is a replica of the depot that's by Joe Knebel's house,
Rob's
north on
cousin, right,
Canfield,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
just out of town.
Yeah.
That's this.
Oh, okay.
This is what it looked like when it was in Berlin, which later became the town of Lincoln. They changed the name.
Where's
Berlin.
that at?
We can show you on the map. It's just, it's between Rhinebeck and Gladbrook.
Oh. Yes.
And on there, it's named Lincoln on that one. So
Okay,
south of
so-
Waterloo,
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just so, yeah.
down in here somewhere.
So am I supposed to do school over there?
Well, there's
You see Lincoln?
Gladbrook, there's
Okay,
Right
Lincoln.
down in there.
Mhm.
And on this map, it actually is still named Berlin.
Oh, Berlin. I guess I never even heard of that. Well, too bad Liz couldn't be here.
Yeah.
She got snowbound out in Denver, Colorado this week.
Oh, she did.
But they are coming home today, so. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember which kids it was we took even. That was that long ago. I just remember we took a few of the kids and went to, just rode it to Oelwein for the heck of it. So.
Well, we have a picture of Shirley Jones and Ross when he's a little boy and some other kids. They rode the last train.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, I don't know if that's what this one was or not. Yeah, that's interesting. Haven't ridden on a train for a long time.
We will take Amtrak to see John's brother Kent in Montana.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we've done that 3 different times. Yeah. We go to his brother Dean, his oldest brother, that lives in Wisconsin by Viroqua, which is just south of La Crosse, and we get on Amtrak there,
Oh,
and then go through Minneapolis and then through North Dakota over to Montana.
I often thought that would be fun to do. Take
Yeah,
Amtrak.
we've done it 3 different times.
I have a cousin that lives in Washington State, and
Oh.
I would love.
That'd be perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
We looked into going out to, my wife's dad lives out in South Carolina, I think. And he said, just take a train, because we're like, okay, and I looked at it, it was relatively reasonable price-wise, but it was like a 24-hour,
Yeah.
because you don't go real fast, and you
No,
can stop.
and you stop so much.
I did ride a train out, I think, from Montreal to Halifax.
What were you doing there?
We were on a trip to Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Took us all day and night, because we stopped on the train.
Yeah.
I know, that's coming back to me now.
Well,
see?
good.
But that one was really nice, and we ate there and everything.
Yeah.
But I had to sleep in the other berth, because the other lady wanted to bow, and
Oh.
I didn't sleep all night. Oh, sure. Well, are you showing pictures or what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will be.
Yep, we will be. You want to hang around?
Oh, I will for a little bit, yeah. I'm not doing much today.
Should we go ahead and get
Yeah.
started?
I'm sitting there last night.
Because I knew it was gonna be pretty. Here's Lisa lays down, kick this way. Oh, it's fine. Then I had this written on my calendar, and I just happened to glance at the calendar.
So the viewer is up, you can just
Okay,
shrink that down. Before we do though, maybe we could talk about what's up on the screen.
Yep.
So, welcome everybody. I wanted to quickly show you, we've got 3 items that came from my cousin Scott, who is a huge railroad buff. He lives up in Mason City. And this is an actual brake wheel off a train car. Right now it's sitting in our shed at home because it's really heavy and I couldn't talk Rob into bringing it down. But we think it could have been off a Chicago Great Western. If you scroll down just a little bit, there's a picture at the bottom, all the way down, and click on that rail car. So that is a brake wheel of the same type, and in my research I was finding that they had different shapes, but this one is the same shape as the one that we've got, and you see where it would have been positioned on the rail car. So that'll,
Somebody would ride up there and turn that.
I guess, there's a ladder next to it, so
That's crazy.
yeah. And I did read, somebody asked a question, did every rail car have a brake? And the answer to that was yes. And I assume it was on the back end, although as trains go, it can be on either end, I guess. But that'll be in our depot eventually. I'll come around on the side so I get a better view.
Get it right.
Mine is different than this at school. And right now, mine, everything is backwards, so I have to do it upside down. Do you know how hard that is to do? Because the kids are like, what's taking so long? Because your teacher has to figure out how to write backwards and upside down, so it's the right way for you guys. So this is a picture of the Dunkerton Depot. But it didn't have a label on it about who that gentleman is.
I think it's Tom Nye, who would have been the telegrapher, the telegraph operator. And we have a telegraph key up here on the table. It's not the Dunkerton one, it's one that I got from my cousin Scott. But we do know where the telegraph key from Dunkerton is, and we may eventually end up with it. Notice the sign on that building, that was shortly after it was built, I believe. And the sign is black with white letters. The signs over here, we've got both of these, are white with black letters. And if you notice the picture that's down there on the end, that was when it was all boarded up and right before they tore it down. And that does show those signs, the white with the black letters.
Why did they tear it down?
I think, well, it wasn't used anymore.
Right.
We weren't in existence. We wish that we could have saved it, but, you know,
Because it was
Yeah,
fairly
it was-
recent, wasn't it?
I don't know.
90s?
We know that 1997, that big map, or aerial photo of Dunkerton still shows the depot. So sometime between 97 and now.
Because I remember riding our bikes all over that area. I probably just didn't pay attention to what it was.
Yeah.
I remember it.
The label on the back of this one says that Tom Nye was sending a telegraph after a train crash and a fire.
So that was what took down depot number 2. Our first depot burned down in 1914, I think, and that was a lightning strike. This one was a train derailment, and a gentleman, I can't remember his first name, but was a Fetgather. John Fetgather was killed, ran into the train, caused a derailment, and it burned the depot down. So that was depot number 2, and then depot number 3 is the more modern-looking one that, you know, was then torn down.
And there's the train wreck.
That was right here, that took out the depot.
Well, I'm not sure where it caused enough of of a wreck that it ended up taking out the depot. Where the accident happened, I think, is on Dunkerton Road. That's where he would have run into the train. So it must have caused a big, buckling,
So this one is an article, I don't know if I can see a date on here. It says, someone's written on it from the Courier, June 20th, 1971.
Oh, wow.
But this picture was dated October 18th, 1944.
We've had several train derailments. I know there's one up here on the table from 1971. There's another. But you could see how, the buckling would end up hitting the building. And
So is that Crane Creek right there?
yeah,
So to the right would be to the east? No, south?
I'm not sure what the big building is there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to picture too. I would assume the park would be to the left of the picture.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't.
It's probably long gone too.
It says the accident occurred at the Dunkerton City Park trestle near Highway 281 North. One of the cars and huge portions of the track were found in Crane Creek. Hmm. 20 cars were destroyed. Most were loaded with lumber. But as many residents flocked to the scene, but one Dunkerton family picnicked in the park and undisturbed by the derailment and continued eating their lunch.
Imagine what a chore it would be to get that car out of the creek back in.
Yeah.
Then this one says Annetta Nye. Oops. And she must have been the daughter of Tom Nye.
Right. And she became Annetta Moeller, who would be Phil Moeller's mom. She was also the one-room school teacher at Bennington No. 1 when my mom attended up there. And she actually lived with my grandpa and grandma for a while because, that's what they did. They lived with somebody that was close by. I think what she was sitting on, does it say? It's like a
freight wagon used
freight
for
wagon.
moving cargo.
Yeah.
And this one just shows rail cars, a rail car on a sideline. Then we have, Julie, do you want to explain what this one is?
Yeah. This also came from my cousin Scott. It's from 1944. And it is the timetable, the passenger train schedule. So if you open up the first page, it'll show the map. So the Chicago Great Western went all the way from Chicago to Omaha.
Okay, so there's Chicago.
To Omaha.
Here is Omaha.
And then Minneapolis down to Kansas City.
Kansas City's off.
And the hub of all of that, right in the center, was Oelwein. So Oelwein has, I hear they've got a
Here's
fantastic museum, and we need to get up there and check it out.
I've never heard of that.
So they were the hub for all of that. Now, can you find Dunkerton?
Okay.
Yeah, it's right
So
below.
there's Oelwein, and then Fairbank, Dunkerton, Dewar, and Waterloo.
And then go a little further down to
Yep,
Lincoln.
and then Hudson, Rhinebeck, and Lincoln.
So Lincoln is the original home of the depot that sits at Joe's, and the one that we're going to restore. And the name of the town was originally Berlin. They changed it in 1944 because of the war to Lincoln. So if you look over here, we have a photograph of the original Berlin depot. Yeah. Do you want to put it up on the screen?
So I'm gonna have to tilt it, so.
So that would have been in its heyday. Isn't it cute? We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it look like that again. Joe, do you want to tell the story about the Berlin or the Lincoln station
How I
going
got
down the
there?
road? Yeah.
Yeah, so we bought the house from Willie Banfield about, in 2007. And so we didn't know how the well was. So we had, rural water was coming through at the time, the Central Iowa Rural Water, I'm not sure what it's called now. But anyways, so I called and I said, hey, can you have somebody stop out? They were going right by our house anyway. And I said, we just want to, get an estimate, whatever, talk about installing some water to our house, just in case. Well, the guy that showed up said, he goes, first of all, where did you get this depot? And I just thought he was a fan of trains or depots, and he said, I'm from Lincoln, Iowa, and it used to have like the big Lincoln signs on it. And I said, my understanding is they just had it moved here, years ago. And he said, yeah, he started laughing. He said, I remember sitting in my kitchen. He said he thinks it was 1973. And he said, we're sitting there drinking coffee, and all of a sudden, I look out the window, and there goes our depot. So he said it was like a big deal, like everybody got out and was looking out the window and seeing this depot going down the road. So I would imagine, story, I think Julie, you might have told me, or somebody told me that they wanted to get rid of it, and it was just pennies on the dollar, and Willie wanted it to sell antiques out of it. And so he just bought it, and back then, they probably just put it on a trailer and hauled it down the road. Probably wasn't a whole lot of regulations or anything. And so then he sat it on the corner of the property that we own now, and it's been there ever since. And it was pretty neglected. They put a new roof on it, which I think saved it. I don't know if the roof was there before we got it, obviously, but the walls and everything are still up. It's got an old ticket window booth in this inside, which is pretty neat. We're just kind of getting run down, and then when you guys have the historical society going here, I just kind of half jokingly, half felt Dan out, and I said, why don't you guys come get the depot and use it for your project? And he just kind of nodded, and didn't say much. And then about a month later, Teresa, or you guys had something on your website saying, hey, we're going to get a depot. I'm like, oh, they must have wanted the depot. And so we're just so happy to be able to donate it, and just, when I look at it, I see it all fixed up and painted and beautiful like it used to be or should be. So I think it's pretty cool that you guys are going to use it.
Yep.
It's just something that the whole community can use, and I just can't wait until it's done.
Us either.
You just gotta come get it.
Yep.
We'll be right on that, Joe. So this is one of the train schedules from 1944. So this one shows from Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, and then it gets to Oelwein, Fairbank, Dunkerton, Dewar, Waterloo. So it would leave Dunkerton at,
That's actually the mileage. You go
Oh,
one
that's the last
column.
one more left.
Yep, there you go.
there we go.
So it daily at 3:22,
22.
it would have left Dunkerton, headed south. And then the DD, I had to look that up. There's a little chart on a previous page. That means that they would stop if necessary. There was more explanation about it, but they didn't always stop in Dewar. It was only as needed. And then
What's the mileage? Where are they?
it's the milepost.
Oh, okay.
So 0 at Minneapolis, and then 11 to St. Paul, and then,
Okay.
You'll see they keep increasing as they go down. And then on the other side is the northbound. So it would have left Dunkerton at 11:25 and head to Fairbank and get there about 11:40.
Does it have anywhere what it cost back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the daily trips, but there's a page that shows the Pullman sleeping car.
Yeah, so if you look here, there's sleeping cars, a tourist sleeping car, a Pullman club lounge, dining services and coaches.
And then go towards the front. So it was cheaper if you slept on the upper berth. $1.80 instead of $2.35 if you were going to Dubuque. So the first column is lower berth, then upper berth, and then compartments and drawing rooms. So those were the pricier, and it depended on how many people. And of course the route determined also. So the cheapest we found was $1.80, and then there was a 16 something for the drawing room with more than one person. Yeah. Oelwein to
Rochester.
Rochester.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dang, up to $12.
Which, Harriet, you said when you had ridden in Canada that you were in an upper berth. A lot of space?
What?
Did the upper berth have a lot of space?
I don't know, I didn't sleep, I know that. Fall out, I guess. But, no.
Did it kind of
But
rock?
that was quite a luxurious train we were on then.
Yeah.
They had big windows in, and it was like in the early fall, and the trees were going across Canada there. It was just beautiful. So that's what I remember about that.
Mm.
I have to go back and look and see what year I went. I can't remember that even. Another friend and I went on this trip, so.
But you said you had taken a couple of your kids from the
No,
Dunkerton.
that was, yeah, I don't know what year that was.
But that was Dunkerton to Oelwein? Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking it was sort of gonna be like the last trip or something, that's why we went on it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't know why we would have.
Well, we have a picture, maybe we can find it, it's in the web, of Shirley Jones and Ross is just a little kid, and that was also from that same last trip.
I can go back and look at, I've got a lot of stuff in Tarpon, old stuff in totes and stuff, I might find when we went, I don't know.
It should be up in another window. It's the blue swirly thing down at the bottom. Was that, nope,
No,
all the way
that's
over,
Archivo.
all the way over.
This one?
Yep.
There we go.
I think if you do return to search results up at the top, because I put in railroad, and then scroll down and you'll find the picture of several people on like the station
This one,
platform.
maybe?
No,
No?
keep going back. Yeah. Scroll down. It'll be 2 women and a bunch of little kids standing on the platform in front of the depot.
I'm a mouse person.
I know we should have brought a mouse up. Right there.
There we go.
So this is Lela Nye, Annetta Nye Moeller, taking Lela's grandchildren on the final train. And then it also includes Ross Jones, Lori Jones, Lela Smith, Larry Smith, Laura Smith, Phil Moeller, and Tom Moeller. Click on the picture, it'll bring it up big. Aren't they cute? So that must have been the same trip. You just didn't get a picture with them. I was thinking Shirley Jones was in there, but
What year
mistaken.
was this?
Scroll down, see if it says.
1975?
Well, no, that's when Larry graduated. Yeah, I guess we don't have a date on it.
All the way to Des Moines.
Oh, did they go to Des Moines?
That's what it says in the last line there.
Yeah, last train ride to Des Moines.
Ah, okay.
Wonder how they got back.
Hopefully it was round trip. So that would have been a different one if you went to Oelwein. Okay, so that might help us date it, because that is about the end of the passenger service in Waterloo. Now maybe that was after when Dunkerton's quit, though. I know that my grandma Lois rode the train to go to East High School. So she actually lived with a relative during the week. She rode the train either Sunday night or Monday morning, went to school at East, and then rode the train home after the end of the week.
Back to Dunkerton?
Yeah.
Some of this was Anne Marie Bowers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because I've got that big yellow one. Is that the one they're talking about?
Uh-huh. Yep.
I do know where that's at.
That's Louis Fressle. That's my great grandpa in the blacksmith shop.
So I don't know. Let's see.
Marie tended to cover a lot of topics. So even though the headline says the railroad was the primary means, she went through a lot of other topics there too in that. And I didn't realize that she wrote these articles for the Black Hawk County Sun prior to our centennial, you know, trying to stir up interest and whatever. And then somebody came to her and asked if they could be made into the book that you guys know about. So I think this one is up on the table here. And we think that this is the original depot. So all of the Chicago Great Western depots had a similar shape. So the Lincoln Depot is very similar to this. You can see the bump out. Looks like their freight door was on the side instead of the end, like on yours.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of odd that ours was on that end
Mm-hmm.
that opened up. But yeah, it's too bad Art Roberts wasn't here. He's the one who told me that when he was a little boy, he would, not a little boy, I guess, he would be smoking cigarettes as a little boy. He said he and his buddy used to steal cigarettes from their parents and go sit in the depot and just watch the trains go by. He said the half of the depot behind the ticket booth was like regular booths where you just kind of sat.
Waiting for the train. So you can see several dapper gentlemen in hats. Oh, and a
Doesn't show it very
bicycle.
clear on the screen, but that man's on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it.
I love that picture.
And that one has the white sign.
Right. But it would have been way, way old. Yeah.
So is that the existing grain bin behind it?
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, probably.
Look, this
It's
is back
still there,
here.
yeah.
So if you look in the model with the little depot, I made a little model with the wagon and the horses. That's based off that picture. I think that's so cool. Look at the difference in the dress between the two men.
I got the driver and then the passenger there, huh?
Either that or the farmer and somebody headed to town. I don't know. So another train derailment. Look how far the railroad tracks are out of town. All the co-op stuff isn't there yet.
So you can see the school and the water tower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bar up's not even there, right?
nope.
Looks like B. Nicholson's old house is there, maybe. Way over on the left, down the road.
Yeah. What were those things to the right of the
No,
school?
that's,
Do you know?
no, that's farther out, that looks like Jefferson's.
Those
Those are
things?
rows of grain bins.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's just all kinds of like the round.
Mhm.
stands. I wonder if that was the start of the co-op.
Yeah, something like that,
So
right?
I'm guessing that this,
Is that
maybe like Bob
Jefferson's?
Jefferson's?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At first I was thinking B's, house, but it's too far out.
Boy, those cars really went flying. Look how far away they are from the track. Of course, maybe they drug them there. Maybe this is the aftermath. Might have moved them out of the way.
That's why I never pull right up to the white line when there's a train going by.
I know we've got a letter to the editor somewhere, might be in this folder here, that Lynford Bauer wrote, saying how many train wrecks do we have to have before you put in, some kind of a signal or a guard or whatever.
We still don't have one.
No. But at least there is a signal, right? It flashes.
That's true.
Oh,
Is that it? So is there a date?
I never know how to open these things.
And be on the end. Yeah. We've learned we don't seal them.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, well, this might kind of date it, about 1964. because he mentions 20 years ago when one of our citizens was killed. That might be the John Fettgather. Yeah, because the Dunkerton Depot burned. So if that was 20 years before he wrote this, about 1964.
Because it says the county recently built a beautiful blacktop pavement. You can cross the railroad crossing at the maximum speed limit.
Well, there it says 1961.
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean, only the leaves of 3 Air Force men?
Well, he's writing in response to a recent accident
Oh,
that I think it explains up at the top. And these
okay.
people were home on leave, and they didn't. Nobody was killed in that one, but it just brought it to the forefront again.
This one's dated August 22nd, 1973.
Oh, that's the Dewar one.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, we've got pictures of the Dewar train wreck from Jules Moeller.
Like that unidentified transient.
So the unidentified transient is has bad luck. It's the third time that he's been on a train derailment.
Were most of these accidents because of the ties and the?
I don't know what causes the accidents. I mean, that one seemed to imply that that was the problem.
Okay, this one's dated 1917.
Isn't that a cool picture?
Is that down at the park?
Yeah. With an old steam locomotive. Isn't that cool?
And this one is 1971. This one is 18, nope. I don't know the date on this one. But the caption says, sheep cluster around the wreckage at Dunkerton. A young Vinton trucker met death at the railroad crossing.
So this kind of brings up another little topic of an item we have over here. Let me put that up. So I assume that the sheep were on the train. And what Rhonda's going to show here.
Well, it looks like the top picture there has them. I thought I saw like their heads poking out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see the sheep in the rail car.
So this was a form that went with livestock when it was being transported. And it's got the description, you know, who it's going to and all that stuff. But then on the reverse side, so this was them showing that the animals were being fed and watered. Down at the bottom, it also shows if any dead, show the number removed. So not all of them made it. And this also came from Scott. Those columns way on the right, I think, are the feeding and the watering times.
Yep. Quantity and kind of food show full details. Watered, enter, yes or no.
Mhm.
Never thought about that before. No?
But this one does show the sheep up there.
Yeah.
And then down here at the bottom of the article, it says, Mrs. Melvin Jones, who lives near the tracks, said she sensed what was going to happen, but I was afraid to look. Moments later, she said she looked up to see 15 or 20 railroad cars flying through the air.
Wow. And somebody drove a truck into it, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
27 cars from the 80-car train, mostly carrying livestock, were stacked like forgotten toys in the fields next to the tracks. Dead is Leroy Davis, 25 of Vinton. The truck he was driving smashed broadside into a Great Western engine late Wednesday afternoon at a crossing west of here. The damage was estimated at $300,000.
A lot more now.
This is Marie Bauer's article from 1976. That was the one that we looked at. At one time, there were 2 departures and 2 returns from Waterloo daily. One could leave Dunkerton at 4 p.m. and arrive back home at 9:30. This was an excellent way to give your girl a big evening. The fare was minimal, and before cars, the train was the major means of transportation. The depot, built in 1886, was struck by lightning and burned in 1908.
Oh, 1908.
The second one was destroyed by fire when a train derailed and crashed into the station. In 1944, that was the John Fetkeather accident. For many years, steam engines were filled with water from the old wooden water tower, which was located just east of the depot. Babe Kaufman captured some of the nostalgia by painting in oil a picture of both the tower and the depot.
Wonder where that is.
It's gonna need that third column there. It says the guy's pay was $16 a month. And then it talks about suggesting to start the co-op at the very bottom.
Wheeler.
First board of directors for the co-op.
Yep.
Wasn't there, that Wilcox name sounds familiar, was there another teacher up at Dunkerton? Wilcox?
He was the principal.
Or maybe there was no
Yeah, he
relation,
was
just
principal.
Same name.
That hurts my eyes to look at that all the time.
Oh, does it?
It didn't say that. Look at that right there on the bottom, to the left, right above the back. It's talking about the overpass, I think.
Yep. The bridge was built at a cost of $5,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Hmm.
Construction costs $134,000.
Yeah.
For the viaduct, yeah.
It's not here.
Then they took it down when no trains went through, then they got the ethanol plant and the main trains go through.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't watch that anymore because it bothers my eyes. so
Okay,
that's,
well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming,
It's
Harriet.
very interesting.
Yeah.
I told her to get out of here.
One thing to tell you guys too, I don't know how accurate it is. The Black Hawk County, like the assessors, whatever site, says that that depot was built in 1900. I imagine it's pretty accurate, but that's pretty cool. It's
Mm-hmm,
124 years old and still
Yeah.
standing.
it is.
Minus a couple panes of glass, but other than that, it's held up pretty good. This has probably got real 2x4s and real hardwood in it.
Yeah. So this is a telegraph key, and it also came from my cousin Scott. You know, they use Morse code with a dot, dot, dash.
My brother Tom,
Yeah.
he was, during the Cuban crisis, was on a ship, and he was, what do you call it?
Like a radio officer, something. He was in the Marines, but he did a lot of this communicating back and
Yeah,
forth with
he
the
Mhm.
would love to see that.
troops on the ground.
And I believe that would have been mounted on a board or something so that the clicking, and it would have been hooked up electrically somehow.
Well, that one
You
picture
see?
that you showed that somebody was talking about the burning down,
Hmm.
it almost looked like it was outside on a post.
Well, that's because the depot burned,
Oh, so he had to do it.
so he had to do it.
I see.
Yeah. It's like, hey, our depot's gone.
Well, if you scroll up a little bit, or
Yeah.
scroll up. Yeah, that little box, I was thinking maybe they just hooked it up temporarily.
Yeah.
Huh.
Send out the signal.
We have a problem.
Just pause for the picture.
But it looks like even the pole's charred.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Again, this came from my cousin Scott. And this would have been a shipping tag. If you flip it over on the other side,
Did he donate these
Yeah,
things to
yeah.
you? Good, that's nice.
so this was sent to my grandpa Tom from his son Jack. You see the J.D. Magee on the side, from the U.S. Naval Training Station in Idaho. So I don't know what it was. The value of it, it says it was $8, and the shipment date was January 22nd, 1944. kind of amazing that somebody kept that.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's like the pamphlet you had, it looked like it was brand new,
I know.
showing the dates
Yeah.
and the prices.
Okay, so there's kind of a story with this one. When Catherine Wellner died, Julie Rottinghouse pretty much gave us free rein to come in and look through stuff and gather whatever we thought was good for the museum. So this is dated 1919, and it's actually a legal agreement. Nick Wellner, who would have been Catherine's father, filed a complaint about the rail right-of-way coming over some of his property. And something in the way that it was built was, I think, causing some water backup or whatever. And, actually George Wellner, so it would have been one generation farther back. So Chicago Great Western Railroad is the complaint, complaint is written against, and George Wellner was saying that the right-of-way runs through the above-described lands, dividing them into two separate pieces, and anyway, he won this agreement. And I think they had to change the crossing or something, so. So that would have been Catherine's grandpa, probably.
I suppose it makes sense, they want to split up his property.
Yeah. Okay, so the purpose of something about widening, I don't know. Anyway,
Right, keep-
he wasn't happy. He complained and he won. Looks like he got $650. And they're gonna widen. So, the little guy taking on the big company.
Surprised he won.
Yeah. I don't know, it's all spelled out there.
Mhm.
So, notarized 1922. Signed by the Director General of Railroads. It's kind of confusing because Wellner's live south of town, away from the track, so it's like, where does this go through? I mean, there is another set of tracks farther west, right, or farther east. I don't know. Maybe they ended up abandoning it.
I don't know if you guys can see that imprinted, that Chicago Great Northwestern seal.
Mm-hmm. We've gotten 2 boxes of books from an unknown donor. That's what, some of those are laid out. There's another box downstairs I didn't even bring up. But they're not all about the Chicago Great Western Railroad, but someday when we have our depot, we'll probably have a library in there with
Cool.
railroad books. And there's some really interesting ones back there. There's one on dining. I think that white book kind of behind Joe.
Dining by rail.
Yeah. Of course, there's a train wreck one. Those photos came in that box, and I don't think they're Chicago Great Western, but they're really neat old photos. That book standing up is one that Ross bought, and that is about the Chicago Great Western, and Dunkerton is mentioned in there. I'm not sure if Dewar is.
Corn Belt Route.
Yeah, it is, Dewar is,
Dewar is good.
yeah.
Go to Lincoln and see if it tells a story about Berlin and Lincoln.
Yeah, it's here, Lincoln's here. Retired depot sold to R.J. Welch for $300. 1953, is that what that means? Where's it on?
Yeah, depot 18 by 34, formerly named Berlin, but changed during World War I.
Oh, World War One.
In one waiting room, and it says, depot preserved and moved to farm north of Dunkerton by William Banfield and is currently used to store antiques.
They keep track.
Is there a page number?
So now we'll have to have a new edition.
Right? Let's see. There's no page number or anything that I can see that links it back to anything. It's a little more history though. I guess that would make sense, World War I, if it was built in 1900, like the
Yeah.
county assessor says. Somebody's probably still got those Berlin signs in a shed somewhere. Yeah, I wish I had a page number to find it. We've heard some pretty cool stories. My great-grandpa maybe used to work on the railroad, not Dunkerton, but so when my grandma was growing up, she would tell us stories about riding the depots and because he would work on the rails and they would ride along with him. And when right in the depots, right in the cabooses, when the trains used to have caboose that was manned by operators, I think. Did he do that?
I
Was the
think so,
caboose
I think
operator?
he was been a brakeman.
Yeah.
I don't think he was do you remember, Dan? I don't know if he was an engineer.
So he might have, yeah. The brake that you showed, that might have been his
Could've
job to
been.
climb up there and stop it.
Well, Dennis's wife Julie, her dad worked on the railroad for years and years. Had lots of stories to tell, but he's gone now.
A C and NW work train passes the former CGW depot at Dunkerton, Iowa, a few miles south of Oelwein. But it's got a pretty cool picture of, maybe that'll blow it up more, but it's got a pretty cool picture of a train sitting outside a depot with like a big old crane truck.
So is it one of the older depots?
I don't,
Can you tell?
it looks similar to the one that you guys showed that was in white because of the bottom, like the siding, but. But it's got a pretty cool little truck beside it with like a big boom, almost like a crane truck.
I lost the IPVO shortcut.
Oh, okay. I think that's the last building. The shape of it looks like
Yeah, 'cause
that.
it's a little dark in the picture, but you can see kind of the strips along the bottom where the, like the siding on the
Yeah.
horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Does it-
kind of neat to see a train sitting there and
Yeah,
a big boom truck or whatever it is, crane truck.
yeah, it's that depot.
Oh, is that the same one down there?
Yeah. It just didn't have the character of the old ones, you know?
Yeah, this is just kind of let's throw a building together. But that's just the first page of our section, so maybe it's got the route that this page starts on shows it going from Waterloo down through Hudson, Lincoln. So maybe if we keep turning, it'll have the Lincoln Depot in there. This is just page 1, so I don't know.
There's Rhinebeck, we're getting closer.
Rhinebeck, Cedar Falls, Bondurant,
What's the one on the left down below?
Bondurant.
Oh, Bondurant.
I'm sorry, that's really fuzzy.
Boy, that layout down there
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
gonna be-
looks like yours.
This has Blockton and Ravenwood, Missouri. So let's go back here. Okay, this one shows Hudson. And this one is Lincoln.
That's Lincoln?
Yep.
Oh,
That's what
there
it
you
says.
go.
The
Yeah.
quaint little depot at Lincoln, Iowa awaits some traffic on an unknown date. The small building to the right may be an outhouse. Lincoln was formerly named Berlin, but the anti-German sentiment during World War I necessitated a name change. Lincoln was a safe name not to be used elsewhere in Iowa.
It almost looks like it's shorter. Picture might be deceiving.
Yeah, it could just be because of that semaphore.
Or like, it's the left of like the bay window, whatever you call it,
Mm-hmm.
the bump out window, looks like it. Like the length is shorter.
There's the chimney,
Mm-hmm.
because you got the chimney on the inside.
It's still got it's still sticking out through the roof too.
Yeah. Oh, it is?
Yeah, yeah.
We can probably forego the outhouse, don't I think?
Yeah. If you want to be period correct.
So that kind of looks like asphalt roof, doesn't it?
Well, it's got, it's like
Layers
7
and
layers of
layers?
shingles,
Yeah.
and then they just put the metal on top of them all.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really show up there, but there is a sign here that says Lincoln. You can see it on the computer monitor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably got, especially like the brackets on top, like supporting the roof. They're fading it now, but the other, looks like they might have been a bright yellow in this picture too.
Yeah. I noticed in the old picture of it, they look dark. And I noticed too that these newer, and I remember you could tell that they were yellow if you go out and look at it. So we'll probably restore it to yellow,
And kind
red
of
and yellow.
the burgundy or whatever the,
Yeah.
that's gonna be something.
That was kind of the standard color for all of them. When we went to Elizabeth, Illinois, that depot had the standard red and yellow.
Wasn't the one over in Independence, when you come in like the back way, like from Oelwein?
Mhm.
I think that one's the same.
Is that? I've been by it, I've been in
Right,
it.
but I never really
Yeah, I
paid
can't-
attention to the color.
Yeah.
It's been a while, we don't normally go that way, but
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and they called this the Corn Belt route. I see that down at the
Mhm.
bottom.
yep, that's what the book's title, yeah, too.
Okay. I don't know if you noticed in the box with the model, I found a Corn Belt route Chicago Great Western patch on eBay. I don't think it's original. I'm sure it's a reproduction, but you can open that door and take it out.
That's so neat.
eBay's great.
It's too bad you didn't have like the old signals of.
Did you
stuff.
want it up
Mm-hmm.
there?
It looked like the one in Dunkerton looked like it had it sticking out the side.
Probably a reproduction, but
You never know.
we've discovered that the Chicago Great Western stuff is really desirable, but hard to find. Because they're defunct, they're gone. We stopped in at that little railroad model shop that's in Cedar Falls and just kind of put the word out, you know, if you find any Chicago Great Western, and she's like, yeah, it's hard to find, so.
Well, there's a guy years ago stopped out at our house, I think he's from Tripola, and he was just a big train nut, and he wanted to buy he didn't want to buy the depot, but he wanted to buy all the windows, then he wanted to buy like the angle brackets, and he basically said, name your price. I'm like, no, because we're not gonna just piece it out,
Yeah.
we wanted to fix it up, but
Yeah,
I'm glad we didn't.
me too.
And I'm just really upset that we got rid of the Lincoln signs too, but.
We'll recreate them.
I mean, I could maybe find his name and see if they'll give him back, but. Well, we were gonna sell the house and the realtor said, hey,
Mhm.
you wanna sell those signs? We're like, sure. Then we're gonna live there, then we decided to stay, and like, oh. I mean, every time you look at it, you see where the paint isn't faded and the sign used to be there. But it's kinda neat, I think it's on the opposite side from our house where you see the big doors, the opposite side of that,
Mhm.
where you have the doors that open, it's got like that big long window,
Mhm.
the
Up top.
dividers.
Yep.
The
Like in
screen
the
doors are still
model.
laying there too.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you're gonna put the doors back on or whatever, but
Don't know.
We'll
But
try it.
the big slider doors, and then, evidently they opened those up, and then the screen doors, probably just to, obviously airflow, but the screen doors are still there as well.
Oh. Well, are we about done? You have to leave.